Does anyone else remember the day today?
Precious.
Sunday?
No, the day today.
Like,
So there's a guy named Chris Morris who did did a lot of stuff in he's English, I think, and so he's from the UK, and he's a comedian that does a lot of very God, it's not experimental. I mean, some of it was, but he did an awful lot of stuff that was like, I'm going to do deconstructions of comedy and of other TV shows that people are not going to expect. And so he, and radio as well. And so he did a show called Jam, which was very weird, very unsettling comedy a lot of the time. And it was also interspersed with music because I think he was also a DJ at the time too. So he was interspersing with a lot of music and stuff. And it was a program, I think, on the BBC. And it was on very late at night. And so you weren't really sure what was going on because the music would kind of come into a middle of a sketch and it would be very unsettling. Then he did a remix of it called Jam. and so there'd be like the normal Jam, and then there would be a remix of it later called Jam, which was remixed all of the bits that he did so that it even made less sense. And which I've never really heard any of it of. I've just remember from what I'm hearing. But then he did a TV show called Blue Jam, which was the stuff that he did in Jam, but now brought to video. And there was a the one skit that really stuck with me is he did a skit about somebody who was trying to kill themselves by jumping out a window, except that they lived on the first floor. And so he would go to his first floor window and he would get on the thing, and then he jumped out and he would kind of like tumble onto the ground. And then he'd get up and he would go back inside his house or his apartment or whatever, and he would do it again. And he just kind of continually kept doing it over and over. And then a crowd started coming around and they were really concerned about him. But then after a while, the crowd was like, they wanted him to succeed because he was trying so hard. And it's like, this is real. I don't know what to think about any of this. It's so unsettling. Like,
yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, and it's why that really stuck with me. It was like, geez, it was a lot. But then he did, so getting beyond that, he ended up doing a radio series called On the Hour, which was making fun of radio news and just doing like satirical take on stuff, but really more making fun of how people did the news in Britain and how straight-faced somebody can read an absolutely terrible thing, or just like how fast they can pivot from a terrible item to a really great item. Like he really set a lot of those things up that you see now in much more modern comedy. He was doing that like much earlier. And then he got to do a TV show called The Day Today, which is just taking On the Hour and turning it into what TV looks like. And then he got so into doing that, he ended up doing a take on those magazine format shows where they have like Dateline and that kind of stuff, but they had them in Britain. And he did, it was called Brass Eye. And he did one that was based on, they just focused on drugs. And they would talk about like, oh, the scourge of drugs. And here's how you buy, like, here's what's going on when you're trying to buy drugs and stuff like that. And, but he would inevitably, I wouldn't say inevitably, he would always contact celebrities to see if they wanted to be a part of the show, but he would never tell them that he was doing a satirical show. They thought he was doing a news show.
Oh.
Yeah. And so, because what he wanted to do was also highlight the fact that there's so many people out there who want to say the right thing or do the right thing for the cause, but they don't know what it is that they're talking about or what it is that's going on. And so he would turn up the absurdity of the thing he was doing, and because they were already captured in it, they just went along with it. And it would be like, he talked about how there was a drug out there called cake, and he got people who were like famous in the UK talking about how cake is this new thing, and it's so. But it's one of those, like, you have to be kind of ready to watch it. You can't just kind of wander in and be like, oh, it might be funny. It's like, no, it's like a punch in the face. It's really funny, but it's like a punch in the face. And I was like, yeah. So, hi.
Yeah. Sorry, so that's a lot of things.
A lot of stuff going on, but it just got me thinking about all those things. Yeah. So it's